Well, Tawana, it appears as though we are now streaming live. Can we go ahead and get started?
Yep, you're good to go. Sorry again, everyone.
Thank you. No problem.
Thanks for hooking us up.
Yep.
Good morning, everyone. We'll call to order the October 21st, 2021 meeting of the Economic Development Corporation for the City of Kalamazoo. This meeting is being conducted electronically pursuant to Open Meetings Act MCL 15.2632 and MCL 15.263AB. Can we have a call to order? PJ, can we do a roll call, please?
Thanks, Vice Chair Hess. Director Bear.
Good morning, here from Boys Blank Township, Mackinac County, Michigan.
Director Bogan.
Good morning, Kalamazoo County, City of Kalamazoo, great state of Michigan.
Chair Bolton. Director Brown. Director Escamilla.
President, City of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
Vice Mayor Griffin.
Here in Kalamazoo.
Director Gulau.
Here, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
Director Hess.
Here, Kalamazoo Township, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
Director Middleton.
Here in the city of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
Director Novotny.
Good morning, here in the city of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
And Director Owens.
Good morning, present from Alamo Township, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
Okay, we are looking for a motion to excuse all absent members. All those in favor, please respond with aye.
So moved, Director Owens.
Sorry,
Director Middleton, second.
Okay, we got motion and support. Looking for a, all those in favor, please respond with aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, next up, we have the adoption of the formal agenda. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to review. We're looking for a motion to approve.
Director Owens, so moved.
Support by Novotny.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor, please respond with aye.
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 Any opposed?
Sound like you have some strong opposition there at your house, Kevin.
Yeah, I know. She's given a little foot there, but okay, we are looking for an approval of the minutes for the meeting of September 16th. Does anybody have any changes or concerns with those minutes? Okay, we're looking for a motion to approve those minutes.
Director Middleton, so moved.
Director Bear, second.
Okay, we have a motion and support. All those in favor, please respond with aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, on to new business. Item 1 is an approval of the recommendation for the city clerk to renew marijuana business permit renewal application for Green Sunrise Products LLC, also known as Loom. This is a medical use provisioning center, but PJ, do we have a presentation from Green Sunrise?
No, we don't have a presentation, but they are here for questions. I give you some Cliff's notes of our community benefits check-in and also our Cannabis Committee meeting. I would like to welcome members of the Cannabis Committee. Commissioner Cunningham and Byron Swift are on our call today. So thank you all for being here. As stated by Vice Chair Hess, this is a medical use provisioning center renewal application. Green Sunrise has 29 of their 37 employees residing in the city of Kalamazoo, 30% of which are people of color. All employees receive health insurance, 401k, paid holidays, and vacation. Regarding job creation, Green Sunrise hosted a Discovery Day event targeted at Kalamazoo residents. While it was not well attended, their plan is to retool the program for 2021, seeking to gather those who are looking for employment at their place of business. Their worker training program is all of their employees are certified through the Tricome Institute. This is a 3-day training and has been setting the highest standards for science education and certification in the cannabis industry. Community benefits, Green Sunrise plans on doing a food drive, and during the holiday season, Green Sunrise gave away Christmas trees and wreaths to community residents. They are currently developing a 3-day shadow program for those interested in doing a cannabis startup, and Green Sunrise is currently working with the Black and Brown Cannabis Guilds. Green Sunrise follows the city's anti-discrimination policy and is not in default with the city. They passed their zoning and fire inspections on May 11th. This comes with a favorable recommendation from the Cannabis Committee. We have representatives here from Green Sunrise if you have any additional questions or comments. And I would open it up to any directors or members of the Cannabis Committee who would like to comment or ask Green Sunrise any questions.
Anything from directors? Okay, we are looking for a motion to approve the recommendation to the city clerk to renew the marijuana business permit renewal application for Green Sunrise Products LLC, also known as Loom.
Commissioner Cunningham, you turned your screen on. Did you have some comment or question to ask? Sorry to interrupt, Vice Chair Hess.
No, I didn't have any particular questions. I just wanted to take the opportunity to acknowledge 2 things in this space. As I haven't been able to be here, thank you all for your service and obviously these early morning meetings. First thing I want to acknowledge 2 things that I've really either questioned or stated to every applicant is 1, how is it that we can assist you? And by we, I mean the committee, this board, city administration, and staff with being successful in our community. And so we've heard a wide variety of things from all our applicants. The second piece that is more of a statement. And it's a statement of acknowledgement that this year, this is a relatively new board. We're trying to get a better understanding of the work that we're trying to accomplish. And again, how do we assist all of our applicants or anyone that comes across our path with success within this industry? And so I've also acknowledged, things will look and or feel a little different next year. And city staff will be obviously ingrained in that entire process to walk all of our applicants and community partners through that process. And so with each applicant, we try to do our best to determine whether we're going to support or not support and or not take a stance on whether we do or don't. And so again, thank you for a few minutes. I'll leave my comments at that for now.
Thank you, Commissioner Cunningham. Any further public discussion or any further director's comments? Okay, so we are looking for a motion to approve a recommendation to the city clerk to renew the marijuana business permit renewal application for Green Sunrise Products LLC, also known as Loom.
This is Director Owens. Move to approve.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Any further director's discussion or comments? This will be a roll call vote. PJ, if you could call the roll.
Director Bear,
Yes.
Director Bogan,
Yes.
Director Escamilla,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Director Gulau,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hess,
Yes.
Director Middleton,
Yes.
Director Novotny,
Yes.
Director Owens.
Yes.
Okay, that motion will pass. On to item 2. We're looking for an approval for the recommendation of the city clerk to renew marijuana business permit renewal application for Portage Acquisitions, Inc., which is a medical processor. PJ, can we get some more information on Portage Acquisitions?
Sure. Thank you, Vice Chair Hess. Regarding employment, they currently have 3 employees at the facility and will ramp up to 10 after a new processing machine comes online. At this time, none of their employees at the processing facility are residents of the city. I will state that Portage Acquisitions has other facilities in Portage, and they do employ a large number of residents from the city of Kalamazoo at those other facilities. Some community benefits of note include they've rented food trucks and fed the homeless camp 3 times this year, 250 meals at a time. They helped a man who was African-American, homeless and mentally ill. They paid his bill and paid his bail and rented a room for him at a residential facility. They've contributed $20,000 to the Michigan Cannabis Association. They work with the Professional Cannabis Education Network on advocating for minority opportunities in the industry. They've donated $2,500 to the VFW to help them get a new roof. They're currently working on a presentation to assist formerly incarcerated individuals to begin a career in cannabis. They've donated $500 to the Redemption Foundation, and starting this year, they will begin donating $5,000 per year to Black Wall Street for startup business funding. Portage Acquisitions passed their zoning and fire inspections on September 28th. They follow the city's anti-discrimination policy, and they are not in default with the city. This comes with a favorable recommendation from the Cannabis Committee. Representatives from Portage Acquisitions are here to answer any questions. And with that, I would open it up to directors or Cannabis Committee members for any questions or comments.
Okay, anything from directors? And I would just comment that I've definitely been encouraged by seeing the activities that these corporations have been engaged in and the positive impact they've had around the city. So with that, we are looking for a motion to approve a recommendation of the city clerk to renew the marijuana business permit renewal application for Portage Acquisitions, Inc.
Director Owens, so moved.
Director Middleton, support.
It's been moved and supported. This will be a roll call vote.
Director Bear,
Yes.
Director Bogan,
Yes.
Director Escamilla,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Director Gulau,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hess,
Yes.
Director Middleton,
Yes.
Director Novotny,
Yes.
Director Owens.
Yes.
Okay, that motion passes. On to old business. PJ, is there any old business?
No, but I would invite, thank you for all the cannabis businesses representatives that were here today. You are welcome to drop off the call now if you would like. So no old business, Vice Chair Hess.
Okay. Any communications or announcements?
Yes, a couple things. You should have received a year-to-date budget showing expenditures. I believe Jamie, thank you, sent those out for both the EDC and the BRA. If you've had a chance to review those and have any questions regarding the EDC, Marcy Dix is here to answer any questions. If you have any questions at a later time, please reach out and staff will get you the information you need. Staff will be sending those out on a quarterly basis to keep the board updated to what's going on financially with both the EDC and the BRA.
Anybody have questions on those items or comments on those items? Okay, do we have any citizen comments?
There are no citizen comments at this time.
One last thing, Vice Chair Hess, I'm sorry. I just wanted to thank everybody for your feedback on the upcoming board retreat, which will be held November 19th. Staff's pretty excited about it. We got some big plans. Thank you to Patty for being willing to host us at one of our stops. And you'll hear more soon. And that's all I have. Sorry, Vice Chair Hess.
No, thank you, PJ, and thank you, Patty. We'll look forward to it. Any director's comments? Okay, well, with that, we are adjourned. Thank you. Anyone need a break? Okay.
Yeah, we can take a few minutes if you need to turn your cameras off and mute. Otherwise, we'll probably get back here in a couple of minutes and get started.
Looks like it's officially fall, guys.
Still waiting on a couple.
Here's a public service announcement. Did you see that last night, the CDC said throw all your onions away? There's a salmonella outbreak in about 37 states due to onions that came from Mexico. So check your onions, folks.
Or just don't eat onions like
Well,
me.
that's your choice. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, gosh, all onions, yellow, white, red, all of them. So they say throw them all out and don't buy any for a little while till they get a handle on it.
Or shop at PFC and support local farms.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm not worried, because I know where my stuff comes from, but a lot of people don't.
Yeah, if directors wouldn't mind, if you're able, turn your cameras back on and we'll know when we have a quorum. I think we're really close here. Looks like we have 7. Yeah, I think, Kevin, whenever you're ready.
Good. Okay. Okay, good morning. This is Chair Kevin Hess. I'd like to call to order the October 21st meeting of the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority for the City of Kalamazoo. This meeting is being conducted electronically pursuant to Open Meetings Act, MCL 15.2632 and MCL 15.263A1B. We'd like to, Jamie, could you please call the roll for us?
Yeah, thank you, Chair Hess. We will start with Director Bear.
Here from Boys Blank Township, Mackinac County, Michigan.
Director Bogan.
Present, City of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, great state of Michigan.
Director Bolton. Director Brown. Director Escamilla.
Present, City of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
Vice Mayor Griffin. Director Gulau.
Here, Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
Chair Hess.
Here, Kalamazoo Township, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
Director Middleton.
Here in the city of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
Director Novotny.
Here in the city of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
And Director Owens.
Here from Alamo Township, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to excuse absent members.
Director Middleton, so moved.
Director Gulau, support.
Okay, been moved and supported. All in favor, please respond with aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Now on to the formal agenda. I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Director Owens, so moved.
Director Bogan, support.
Okay, that's been moved and supported. All in favor, please respond with aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, formal agenda has been adopted. Now on to approval of the minutes from August 19th, or sorry, the September 16th meeting. Can I entertain a motion to approve those minutes?
Director Bear, so
Escamilla.
moved.
Support, Escamilla.
Been moved and supported. All in favor, please respond with aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. On to new business. So the first item of new business is the approval of an administrative amendment to Act 381 Brownfield Plan for Rivers Edge Development Project. Do we have a presentation, Jamie?
Yes, thank you, Chair Hess. Let me just share my screen here to begin with. I just want to pull up a map to show folks what property and area of redevelopment we're talking about actually for the first 3 items under new business. So the property here owned by the BRA is 508 Harrison. So you can see it here along the Kalamazoo River, just off the traffic circle at Gull Street. And the project also includes this parcel here in the middle, 660 Gull. And today we have at the top of the agenda an item that I'm going to have Mr. Helzer with the development team speak to, but there are some changes, some more accurate estimates for the tax increment revenues that would be generated from this site. And that requires, or it'll be helpful for us to update those tables in the Brownfield plan. And so I'm going to let Mr. Helzer talk a bit about those changes and how the administrative amendment would work.
Good morning, everybody. Can you see me and hear me okay?
Yep.
Great, appreciate it. Well, good to see everybody. Just going to have a brief update for the memo that we had provided to Jamie and the team for our request. And what we're trying to do is basically adjust the Brownfield plan so it's more reflective of actually what has been occurring with the project. But in short, what we have is more taxable value because we have more units now that are not associated with the low-income housing tax credit. And in that adjustment, I'm going to let Mike Driver and Kevin McGraw explain this a little bit later as far as our efforts with MSHDA and so forth. But I'll go through the adjustments that we've made to the Brownfield plan. And the first thing that we wanted to do, and I'm going to be looking off here to my other screen as I go through. So if I'm turning away, that's why I'm doing it. What we wanted to make sure is that a formal Brownfield plan was not necessary. And so in our evaluation, we have determined that it is not necessary because we have done basically 2 things. With our efforts working with MSHDA, instead of starting this year with our construction, we are starting in the summer of 2022. That's the first thing. So we're recognizing that 1-year shift in the start of construction. And then secondly, with the additional taxable value from the additional units from 65 to 111 residential units, what did that do? Well, in short, it provided a lot of opportunity for reducing the duration of time for reimbursement of the eligible activities and costs. And so kind of marching through the memo, what we're looking for in request 1 is the authority's recognition today of the change in time for the start of construction. And the second is to basically recognize the new taxable value and the impact that change has had on the Brownfield plan, which is all for the better. We went from a 25-year plan to a 17-year plan. And so a lot of opportunity for cost savings could be added to this. And what that also impacted was the amount of capture that went into the local Brownfield revolving fund. It did tweak a little bit the administration calculation as well as the Michigan's Brownfield revolving fund. And so those are some of the other changes that have occurred. But the memo before you includes all of the tables that were in the adopted Brownfield plan, just simply updated to reflect that major change for the shorter duration and time. There is no change at all to the eligible activity costs. Obviously, the project is exactly the same. We're building the same buildings, building the same development. Again, it was just simply the amount of capture that was going to be allowed in the Brownfield plan has increased due to the additional units. So the table that is in our memo, it's at the bottom, page 4 of 5 in our memo here, does recognize that there is no change in eligible activities and costs, but we did update the capture for the BRA, the authority, that is reflected there. Now, these are estimates, of course. In our estimates, we took the opportunity to update the millages because we were looking at the 2020 millage rates before. We're now in 2021. When we go to the state of Michigan, they're going to require us to do that. So we worked with the assessing office to get the most current rates. So that's also been updated in here, so we have a more accurate plan. So before I turn it over to Mike Driver and Kevin McGraw to talk about our LIHTC application to MISTA, were there any questions related to the Brownfield Plan administrative adjustment? Okay, Jamie, Mike and Kevin, did you want to jump in here?
Yeah, Eric, think this is Mike Driver. So just a quick update on the MISTA side. It's a little bit of a chicken and egg. We've got everything into MISTA. We've had dialogue with them basically on a daily basis. They're just waiting for this final Brownfield piece to go to their committee for final approval. That's our understanding as of today.
I have nothing to add except that we've kept after it. Jamie's been kept informed. PM Environmental has been working on both parcels with Eagle. We're excited about getting this thing going, you guys, and we're at the finish line and waiting for the last approval here from MISTA to get going and build 222 units, half of which are affordable. So appreciate your patience with us, and staff has been wonderful.
Mike and Kevin, this is Chair Huss. Any idea of turnaround times once you do have anything to MISTA?
One thing I've learned is that I can't guess what they're going to do, and we know the higher ups there pretty well. I know them personally, and I'm trying not to be a pest, but professionally pester because of the timing and what's been going on here for a while. And I think it's going to be in November that we're going to get a final committee approval, and then we're going to release final construction drawings and go. And so that's my best guess, but we're obviously very optimistic before the end of the year.
Thank you. Well, thank you guys for that presentation. So we are, I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt a resolution approving an administrative amendment to the Act 381 Brownfield Plan for Rivers Edge Development Project.
This is Director Owen, so moved.
Director Middleton, support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. Any discussion or questions from board members?
This is Director Owens. I just hope, I wish and hope and saying a little prayer for these folks to finally get through this process. It's been a long road. They've got a lot of stick-to-itiveness, as does this board. So thank you so much for not giving up.
Chairman Hess, this is Director Escamilla. I have to abstain.
Thank you, Jim. And I take, yeah, we'll still have a quorum. Okay, this will be a roll call vote. Jamie, could you please call the roll?
Yes. Bear.
Yes.
Bogan.
Yes.
Escamilla.
Abstain.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Griffin hasn't joined us. Let's go with Gula.
Yes.
Hess.
Yes.
Middleton.
Yes.
Novotny.
Yes.
Owens.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, that motion passes. Next item is also with Rivercast. We are considering an amendment to development agreement between Rivercast LLC and the BRA for the parcels at 508 Harrison and 660 Gull. Jamie, could we get a presentation on this?
Yeah, so we have the Brownfields development agreement with River Caddis that also needs to be adjusted based on that change in rental rates, seeing that we're adjusting down to 50% of the units at 60% AMI rental rates, and then the other 50%, 111 units at market rate. That unit mix was reflected in the original development agreement, and so the change there updates to that rental rate mix. I know that we have Rich Cherry with us, Attorney Cherry, who helped work on this development agreement. I don't know, Rich, if you have anything to add to the group?
No, not really, Jamie. The only thing I have to add is that rental mix kind of adjusts the purchase price because of our the VRA purchase policy. So that's the other big change is the purchase price. So, and I'm sorry about the chiming that you hear. It's my GPS telling me to get off. So, but yeah, no, it's that's what the only change.
We're happy to take any questions.
Director Bogan, just was kind of wondering from a financing perspective, because I know that Mish's applications, their next round is in April. So have you guys already received the credit? They just need the Brownfield plan once again, just for my own understanding, or you guys using a different kind of funding or financing package to get this through that is not traditional in your 4 or 9% style of deal?
That's a great question. Mike, can you answer that?
Yes. So we are not going through the 9% competitive round anymore. This is a 4% credit only, which can be awarded at various points throughout the year. So there's not an April deadline related to our credits.
Gotcha.
And I'll just add one thing. Rich said on the purchase price of the land, that has obviously been adjusted and reflected in our application to MISTA.
Okay, any further questions from staff or board members for River Caddis? Okay, this time I'd like to entertain a motion.
This is Director Owens. I move to approve.
Support by Novotny.
Okay, been moved and supported. Any further discussion from board members? Okay, seeing none, Jamie, could you please do a roll call vote?
Yes. Bear.
Yes.
Bogan.
Yes.
Escamilla.
Abstain.
Gula.
Yes.
Hess.
Yes.
Middleton.
Yes.
Novotny.
Yes.
And Owens.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, motion passes. On to item 3. Lastly, with River Caddis. The next item is a request for a 90-day extension to the investigation period in the First Amendment to the purchase and sale agreement for 508 Harrison. Jamie, can we get a little more info on that?
Yes. So thank you. This is the third and last item on this particular project. We're getting all of our business updated and in order. And that last piece is an extension that was requested by the developer earlier this week. It puts them out. We're right around 30 days from the expiration of the purchase and sale agreement that the board had voted on in July, I believe it was, this summer. And in that agreement, it gives developer the option to extend for the 90-day period. And I know that's important. The team has communicated that that's important for them to finalize and get approval from MISTA from this final financing piece. And so just to note, this is a motion we'd like to amend to make sure that the motion includes the authority for Director Kick, the department director, to sign off on that extension. And so just for folks, there was a memo in your agenda packet kind of explaining some of the details of the purchase agreement. I know we had some board members ask that. Attorney Cherry went through and noted that its expiration is November 15th. So we'd have 90 days extension from that date.
This is Chair Hassan. Just want to reiterate, it sounds like you prefer, and this is for Kevin, Mike, or Eric, just to confirm that you guys feel fairly confident that this will happen by the end of the year.
Yeah, we do. And this also correlates with the timing for the closing on the property next door, which is a going concern. And we're handling that with kid gloves because it is a going concern. And they're very concerned with that. And this all kind of makes it flow together as well. So I'd like to say it was purposely designed that way. For once, something worked out on this project where it all kind of did that together. But yeah, we do believe this will be done. This gives us enough time, but it also allows us time to coordinate both closings at the same time of these both contaminated pieces.
Okay, and then when does that contract run through you guys have with Precision Heat?
Mike, off the top of my head, I think our extension will get us to May with them. And so it allows us, it coordinates with our closing basically almost to the month with what this extension does.
I believe that as well. I don't know if Steve has anything different, but that's
Steve
my understanding.
From Honigman, our legal counsel's online. Steve, do you remember the exact timeline?
Yeah, I think it's in that May range. And just to kind of clarify too, that what we're talking about, the extension that we've requested here today is just to basically the financing contingency period. So not the expiration of the contract or the closing date. We still have a additional period of time in which to get to the closing. So
sure.
Yeah, so it 180 days on that. So yeah, this would align the closing dates under the two deals close enough that we can set them both, for the same day, which is going to be critical for the financing that we close on both at the same time.
Thank you, guys. Any further questions or discussion from board members? Okay, this time I'd like to entertain a motion to grant the extension of the investigation period for the First Amendment to the purchase and sale agreement for 508 Harrison Street and authorize the department chair or the department director to sign.
This is Director Owens. So moved.
Director Bogan, support.
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion from board? Okay, at this time, Jamie, could you please do a roll call vote?
Yes, we'll start with Bear.
Rachel.
I think she's frozen.
Yeah, she may be. I will loop back around to the end here for her.
Because we need to have her for quorum, right?
We might be close, yeah. Director Bogan.
Yes.
Escamilla.
Abstain.
Gula.
Yes.
Hess.
Yes.
Middleton.
Yes.
Novotny.
Yes.
Owens.
Yes. Does that give us a quorum?
It gives us 6. We'll see Director Bear. Was she able to? She may have been disconnected. That gives us
6, right?
Yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 is a majority of the board.
Okay.
Thank you.
So that motion will pass.
Well, thank you everybody for your time.
Yeah, thanks,
Very
Kevin.
much. I can't wait for the groundbreaking and the eventual ribbon cutting. We just did a ribbon cutting in Boise, Idaho, of a large project we did. And we copied Jamie. I know she knows about one we just broke ground in Grand Haven, right down by the pier. That's also very contaminated with PFAS. And we're going through the same kind of dewatering process to get footings in there, working with Eagle. So these are very similar in scope in regards to environmental. And we're very excited about doing this and I think you'll be rewarded for your patience. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you sticking in there.
Rachel's back.
Okay, next item. We are looking for an approval of the assignment and assumption of Brownfield Plan Redevelopment Agreement between Park Place Kalamazoo LLC and Park Place Acquisitions LLC for the property at 1825 South Park Street. Jamie, do we have a presentation?
Yeah, let me share my screen here again, just to give you a map. So we are talking about what is known as Park Place of Kalamazoo. It's the RX Optical campus here down. We are south of downtown, so South Park Street near Howard. And let me pull up the image here. This is a project that the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority approved the Brownfield plan in 2016. That's an error in your agenda packet. It's not 2026. I don't have that crystal ball. So this was 2016. The project was completed in 2018. And the developer, built out the project, delivered on jobs that were outlined in the development agreement, and has their TIF reimbursement request all approved. That development agreement provided the developer with around $225,000 in tax increment revenues, or 9 years of TIF. And what's been paid out to date has been 2 years of capture have been paid out. So the balance due to developer is $149,266. We're capturing this year as well, and that would be paid out in the next calendar year. The property owner here is selling the property at this time and wants the Brownfield Authority's approval on assigning the TIF, the right to TIF, and that development agreement to the purchaser. And so some of those details are in your packet. I know a couple of board members had asked some questions about what the plans are for that purchaser. And I was able to connect with the purchaser. They let me know they are able to extend the lease with RX Optical, so it will stay vacated. They don't need to pursue new leases at this time. They don't have any improvements planned right now for the property, though they recognize that one of the things about this property is that it has more developable property or area on the parcel here. And so, no future plans at all at this point, but just knowing that that's something about the property that they're looking at. And they would be then entitled to that $149,000 in tax increment financing, which looks like at the current assessment rate, I think it was right around $42,000 that the developer received from last year's capture. And so it looks like paying off that final obligation within the remaining 7 years should be very doable.
Thank you, Jamie. Any questions for any board members? I have questions for staff. Yeah, it's been a good project and really nice to see that corridor really transform. Okay, at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion.
Director Escamilla, so moved.
Director Goulart, support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. Any further discussion on this topic? Jamie, could you please do a roll call vote?
Yes. Bear.
Yes.
Bogan.
Yes.
Escamilla.
Yes.
Griffin. Goulart.
Yes.
Hess.
Yes.
Yes.
Middleton. Novotny.
Yes.
Owens.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, that motion passes. On to our last item of new business. We're looking for an approval of a TIF reimbursement request from 155 West Michigan. Jamie, do we have a presentation there?
Yeah, and I have We have Teresa with EnviroLogic here today. She was able to provide the agenda report that was in your packet. Very detailed. Thank you for giving us that level of detail. It has this building, the Exchange building has a long history and a couple of different changes that have happened in terms of reimbursement over the years. And I thought the report reflected that pretty well. And I'll let Teresa talk about the documentation that was submitted and the recommendation that EnviroLogic has to approve this full $9 million in reimbursement.
Thank you, Jamie. Teresa Searles here with EnviroLogic. So Plaza Corp is the developer here on the Exchange project here at 155 West Michigan. As Jamie stated, there's kind of a lot of history here. So originally when this Brownfield plan was put in place, there was a tax increment sharing agreement between the City of Kalamazoo BRA and the City of Kalamazoo DDA. The DDA had committed about 1.3 million to the project that they were not able to follow through with. So in December of 2020, the City of Kalamazoo BRA amended, it was the third amendment to the Brownfield Development Agreement, and that was approved to cover those costs that the DDA could not fulfill to support the full $9 million in reimbursement of eligible expenses for this project. That agreement also put a 19-year maximum tax capture for actual reimbursement. So one of the costs that the DDA was planning to support was for elevator expenses, and that is not a Brownfield eligible expense. So in order to support the $9 million that was approved for this total project, the BRA agreed to support interest costs that were not originally going to be included. The Brownfield plan was amended, so those are eligible costs. One thing I did want to mention is that all of the costs that were originally going to be supported through the DDA will be supported through local only tax increment reimbursement. So the Act 381 work plan was not amended, but the Brownfield plan did go through a formal amendment process. So in your packet, there's kind of the official request for cost reimbursement that was submitted by Plaza Corp, and it has those eligible activities itemized. One thing, it does include the elevator costs there, and as I said, those are not Brownfield eligible. So the submitted costs were in excess of the $9 million. So the costs that are eligible for interest reimbursement are less than those elevator costs because some of those other costs were greater. So basically, there's a significant amount of supporting documentation that was submitted that I believe you guys have received previously. We're talking about over 800 pages. So those were not included in your packet, but there were some charts that had been put together by Plaza Corp that kind of detailed where each piece of supporting documentation can be found if there were any specific questions. So I just wanted to call attention to that. The sheets that say BRA qualified expenses and DDA qualified expenses at the top, if you look at the right-hand column, it says proof of payment location, and that'll show where each of those supporting documentations can be found. S3, for example, would be submission 3, and then it'll say the page of those. Some of the eligible costs were, there were some environmental assessment activities that were done in the beginning of the project. There was some site demolition that was necessary to prepare the site. Also, we had some site prep activities. There was a geotechnical evaluation, temporary traffic. A large cost here was the infrastructure improvements. Those activities were done in the public right of way. There was sidewalk replacement, some streetscape improvements, things like that. So I guess the big takeaways I wanted to say is that agreement was for the $9 million. Also the tax capture for 19 years maximum for actual TIF reimbursement. The interest expenses will be calculated annually. It's simple interest at the end of the year based on what actual reimbursements have been made and what the remaining balance is at that time. And that maximum interest to get to the 9 million would be 504,173. So Jamie, I don't know if you had anything to add or if any of the directors have any specific questions.
I'm all set. Thank you for that explanation.
Okay, thank you, Therese. Any further questions from board members for EnviroLogic? Okay, this time I'd like to entertain a motion.
So move, Novotny.
I have a question.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
ahead,
It
Patty.
took me a while to get back there. I unfortunately was absent from the last meeting, and I thought before that we talked about it hasn't typically been that we would reimburse interest. And again, I missed last month, but when did we approve that that could be something to be reimbursed?
This was actually done in a Brownfield update in late 2020. And at that time, we were working with Joe Augustinelli. It might have been mid 2020. Teresa, you might remember the date on that. I think you included it in the memo. That was working with the DDA folks and Joe Augustinelli, and we brought that recommendation forward as a way to more directly account for brownfield eligible activities. And by that, we in working with a developer, there were some ways to kind of break out and prorate some elevator costs that maybe were serving the public. And that felt very indirect. And it felt, since the Brownfield Authority under the statute has the ability to reimburse interest, that felt like a much more straightforward brownfield eligible activity. And again, this was, it's a consideration this board can do in their policy, the way the policy is worded. And the way it was passed and updated in the Brownfield plan was really to address that the Brownfield Authority wanted to help make the developer whole in the DDA obligation that wasn't able to be met at this time. Does that answer your question, Patty?
Well, Jamie, did we have one that was a bit more contentious with an interest request from River Caddis?
We had originally, that's correct, an interest request from River Caddis asking for, I feel like it was almost $1 million in interest for the project that we talked about earlier today.
Yeah, I think that's the one I think that we weren't quite in favor of. But yeah, this was from late last year. But any further questions? Go ahead, Director.
This is Director Middleton. It was my recollection at the time that we approved this back in 2020 that part of our consideration here was just the peculiarity with regard to what happened with the DDA and the loss of that funding source. And so part of our consideration and analysis was trying to bridge that gap and ultimately make good on that obligation to the extent that we could, because the DDA was unable to. Admittedly, I wasn't as keyed into the interest issue. I was pretty new on the board, but that really came to light, as Kevin mentioned, during our River Caddis deliberations. But it was my recollection that again, that issue with the DDA's inability to provide that funding certainly played into this being a more unusual request on our part and why we were willing to grant it. So to the extent that that's helpful context.
It is. And I missed some stuff in 2020 for obvious reasons. So maybe I missed that because I thought previously we didn't really like the idea of reimbursing interest. So thank you, Lucas, for being my member.
And I will say that I think this again highlights that we may want to revisit and discuss in more depth our policy on reimbursing interest, particularly in light of the input of some of the other directors, that it's a common practice for other BRAs around the state to reimburse those costs. So I would, suggest that that's something that we revisit and discuss during some of our committees, or perhaps even on our retreat, and look into in the future.
Okay, any further discussion, comments from board members? Okay, at this time, well, I can't, oh yeah, we didn't have, we never had the motion. So at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the TIF reimbursement for 155 West Michigan.
So I'll move that by Novotny.
Support, Director Bogan.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. And Jamie, just want to confirm this is a voice vote.
We can do a voice vote. That's correct.
Okay. All in favor, please respond with aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. On to old business. Looks like we have none. Just want to confirm that, Jamie.
That's correct.
Okay, on to communications and announcements. Any communications or announcements? Okay, seeing none, we are on to staff updates. And looks like we do have a few staff updates. Go ahead, Jamie.
Yeah, I just wanted to repeat what PJ noted, that we sent out quarterly budget updates for 2 budgets related to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority. So that's Fund 709, which is the main BRA budget, and then also 243, which is the local Brownfield revolving fund. I think just a couple of things to note. You can see in the different accounts where in the local Brownfield revolving fund, we have some revenues from TIF capture. So we have some projects that are in that last 5 years of LBRF capture, and that goes into that fund. In the 709 fund, you're going to see the TIF that's captured for developer reimbursement and for any eligible activities that we're reimbursing the Brownfield Authority for. Both of those go into that revenue account. Things that flow into the revenue account for developer reimbursement, get reimbursed in the following year. So, in and out is not always exactly even in a calendar year. And that's the one, I think, budget item that's not kind of on track for the budget that you approved last year. We always try to estimate as close as we can, but kind of depending on what at the end of any given year is actually finished and complete, that kind of adjusts its taxable value and capture value. So that one, I think that's kind of contributing to what you're seeing in not lining up with our budget. Other than that, I think, you're going to see a bunch of line items, and then thank you, Marcy, for putting in, she put in a highlighted total there. You can see for a lot of staffing that's been paid out, that seems to be close to on budget. And then all of our operating, both administratively and for property due diligence is in there as well. And then also, I think we're doing really well on our contractual services budget. I don't think we're getting even bumping up close to that annual number. Do you have any questions for staff? We do have Marcy here. Thanks for joining us this early morning. Go ahead. Did I hear anyone? Okay, good.
Well, thank you. And thank you, Marcy, for your work on that. On to citizen or do we want to make any comments on the fall retreat?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up the date, November 19th, and I know PJ mentioned that at our last meeting. So that should be held on folks' calendars. We will get a full tour schedule. As he mentioned, we're lining up some building tours with our a couple of our developers here in town. We're also working with parks to try to get some transportation, carpool type transportation together. So we will have some agenda items or an agenda together to put out there. We also will, because this is a quorum of the board, we'll be putting out a public notice for that meeting, and we'll work with the attorney's office. I think we're going to be noticing sort of the we'd like to do a lunch hour. We'll all share lunch and have some presentations from staff, and that would be our sort of public meeting. So more details to come.
Okay, thank you, Jamie. We'll definitely look forward to that. On to citizen comments. Do we have any citizen comments at this time?
There are no citizen comments at this time.
Any director's comments? Okay, seeing none, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for joining.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Thank you.